Hello and welcome back for another episode of Patriotic Housewife. We are going to be jumping into some juicy slash crazy stuff right now. I don't know how many of you guys follow or have heard of Pastor Mark Driscoll. He's pretty well known. He's from Arizona. Actually, Charlie Kirk, I guess he was like a mentor to Charlie Kirk in a way. I know that Charlie like attended, I think, his church sometimes. Long story short, he has come out yesterday and because he started a podcast and he is attacking Candace Owens. We're just going to play some of the clip, let you guys see it, and then we're going to talk about it. But this is pretty disturbing. I'm really disappointed. I actually really liked him, and I'm shocked that he's coming out and this is what they're talking on their Christian podcast. This is pretty interesting.
And then another great saint, we would love to roll her clip. Candace Owens, most recent, really fun debacle with an interview.
I just keep hearing Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train in my mind. I feel like everybody's riding that train today.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Sure.
When you say you believe that Charlie Kirk was betrayed by someone close to him, what do you mean?
I think that in the coming weeks, there's going to be a lot of financial reports that are coming out. And I, first and foremost, do not believe that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. I want to be very clear on that. Whether he was involved, I think the answer is yes. I think that's obvious.
And your basis for saying he didn't act alone is what?
I don't know, maybe the weird Fed messages that were concocted out of thin air that had no timestamp and were written like they were speaking in 1822, among other things. Their lack of an ability to answer any basic questions about what took place.
Do you have any proof that the messages were made up? Because that would be easily proven.
Yeah, but they didn't put timestamps on them, and Discord came out and said they didn't exist.
This was supposedly text messages, not Discord messages. It's my understanding from the indictment.
I actually did not read that they were text messages.
The indictment calls them text messages.
What would it be like the feds are like on a computer, like, bring it out back in Federal.
Exactly what it is. The feds made up the text messages.
But you don't have anyone from like the FBI telling you that or law enforcement? Okay.
No.
Has anyone leaked to you?
And Tyler Robinson.
What has anyone said to you, even off the record, like, we faked these?
I have very strong sources everywhere on both sides.
You know somebody that no matter what they do, it always turns out to be a success and they live a perfect life while you're...
Well, I look forward to seeing evidence. Yeah, sure.
Because when we keep talking about evidence, it's like, who's going to...
So what's the point? Why does she just keep going with what feels like no evidence?
So she's lost touch with reality. And, honestly, from a pastoral perspective, I feel sorry for her. I pray for her. If she has a husband who is present or she's got a pastor who cares, she needs to get an evaluation. And honestly, she needs to take a break because she's become obsessed with Charlie Kirk in a way that is really unhealthy for a married woman. And also she's tried to make herself the de facto defender and spokesperson for the legacy of Charlie Kirk. And that is the sole discretion of his wife, Erica, who did an incredible job on her interview this week. And she's a really remarkable, incredible, grieving widow. But this is the problem with the internet is the crazier you are, the more attention you get, but the less helpful you are. And
we're just going to pause that right there for a second. So this is absolutely disturbing that, like I said, he is coming out and talking like this. So the first thing is the crazier you are, the more attention you get. Not true. She is somebody who cared dearly about her friend. And she has also said, and this is how you know that he is not watching any of the content. His little sidekick, whoever is like asking him these questions, clearly isn't either. She has said if Erica Kirk asked her, she would stop. None of that has happened. Therefore, she keeps going. And here we go again with why do they have to diagnose you? Why does it have to be that you're clinically going insane, or you're mentally ill, or you really need to see somebody, or you're having a psychosis problem? Why? Just for asking questions. And like I said, I used to really like him. I used to listen to some of his stuff on Facebook and YouTube. And now I'm starting to wonder what is going on here. What is going on here? Like, is he friends with, like, possibly Rob McCoy? Like, what is going on here? Because why are we talking about this? Once again, that was a Christian podcast. Like, why are we talking about Candace Owens? I mean, come on. So that right there was super just strange. And I'm just not understanding why that's even a topic. But let's continue to listen to their little diagnosis.
So in ministry as a pastor, our goal is always, we're all pastors, like, how do we be the most helpful? And on the
By the way, they also don't know what they're talking about because she's Catholic. She's a priest.
internet, it's how do I get the most attention? Well, those are two wildly different things. And things like this, they get a lot of attention, but they don't provide any help whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
How do they figure that her podcast is not providing any help? I mean, she's gotten further than the feds have. And I think that the questions that she's asking are very valid. And she isn't the only one asking questions. So once again, why don't you guys make yourself well informed before you get on a podcast and embarrass yourself on the internet? Get your facts straight.
Push you to an extreme, that carrot of attention that always does that. Because
who's this other unhelpful idiot?
I mean, for years, Candace has put out content. I haven't ever watched tons of her content, but just the drip.
Exactly the problem. You are talking about someone when you have not watched their content. Thank you for saying that out loud.
Over the years, it's been good stuff overall. Okay, so this is a newer Candace that's just wild conspiratorial conjecture without any hard evidence, correct?
So, of course, they don't know about text messages, emails. They don't understand that TPUSA employees are leaking information to her. Hello?
Something's happened recently, right?
Yeah, I mean, as a pastor, if this was somebody, let me just ask you this. If this person was attending your church as a pastor, what would your encouragement be to this married couple?
Yeah, immediately unplug from all this stuff. Let's take a retreat. Let's unplug. Yeah.
Also, guys, how funny is it that he's like, oh, if she has a spouse, if she has a husband, she has a husband. Everyone knows her husband. Like, come on. She has a husband. And once again, she said if her husband asked her, she would stop. No one has asked her.
It'd be that. This is overtaken. Yeah.
Yeah. And it becomes conspiratorial in a way that really you're living a fear-based paranoid life.
Yeah.
I mean, when you reach the point where you're like, the guy who killed Charlie didn't kill Charlie. And, I have sources from the feds. I mean, and I think she says, I counted 3 times in that short clip. You're at a point where you've sort of lost touch with reality.
Right.
And when people live online and they live in conspiracy theories and they live in chats and comments, eventually those people start to develop mental health problems, and there's a break from reality. And what we're seeing here, I mean, I hope we're not seeing this, but I think what we're seeing is literally the implosion of a human being online.
Yeah.
This is like watching a car wreck in slow motion.
Well, I don't like this. I do sympathize with, I don't have trust for a lot of our institutions of power and
media.
So she's scratching an itch that I share as well, but this looks crazy.
But when Erica Kirk says, she said in the interview that she did with Jesse Waters that she's confident that Tyler Robinson was the killer of her husband. Yeah. Well, let's let her be the authority on that. She said, I've seen all the evidence and, 1 minute misquote her, but like if someone is killed, the person who has the authority on that assassination is the wife.
And how confident would you have to be to turn your son in that he was the assassin? Tyler Robinson's dad turned him in, probably for a death penalty.
Well, and is more.
We don't know who turned him in, and that's been talked about like a bazillion times that we have no idea who turned him in. So them saying that, we've had conflicting stories 1,001 times about who turned him in. So no, that's not true. And what was the other thing that they said? Hold on, let's keep playing.
Mormon youth pastor, who I think also is literally the implosion of a human being online. This is like watching a car wreck in slow motion.
Well, I don't like this. I do sympathize with, I don't have trust for a lot of our institutions of power and
media.
You don't, but yet you're not even saying that she has valid reasons to ask questions.
Yeah. So she's scratching an itch that I share as well, but this looks crazy.
But when Erica Kirk says, she said in the interview that
here we go again, calling someone crazy.
She did with Jesse Waters, that she's confident that Tyler Robinson was the killer of her husband. Yeah. Well, let's let her be the authority on that. She said, I've seen all the evidence and, 1 minute misquote, but like if someone is killed, the person who has the authority on that assassination is the wife.
And how confident would you have to be to turn your son in that he was the assassin? Tyler Robinson's dad turned him in, probably for a death penalty.
Well, and is a Mormon youth pastor, who I think also was somehow connected to law enforcement. And so
a dad's not going to live into a government conspiracy and turn his son in.
And his dad's a cop, right?
He was,
Was, okay.
And this is it too, like let it play out in the courts, let the evidence be presented, let things run their course. But this is the doubling down. And this is where at the end of the...
My question is, why do so many people give a shit what she's questioning and not questioning? Why do you give a shit? It's not hurting you. Erica Kirk hasn't come out to stop it. She's not offended. Why do you give a shit? Talk about Christian stuff on your Christian podcast and leave the rest to everyone else.
Let me ask you this, Pastor John. What would be better use of your time as a human being than following this in great?
What would be better use of your time, Pastor Mark Driscoll, than you sitting here talking about this shit when nobody asked for your opinion or clinical diagnosis? Wouldn't there be better use of your time? Shouldn't you be caring for people who are actually coming to you for advice or looking to you for spiritual guidance?
Detail.
Take your own advice.
Man, insert almost anything. I mean, we're embroiled in a terrible culture war of we're losing trust in all of our institutions of power. Families are being utterly destroyed. Of like you could throw a dart blindfolded and hit something that would be more edifying than this. I don't see any benefit to this. And now, if there was truth to it, present your hard evidence in total. Present it, not I have my leaks, I have my sources, and trust me, and here's my like. I think. Give us hard evidence right here. Back it up. If you have it, deliver it, and if you don't, shut up.
Mm-hmm.
So
you alluded to a minute ago. You live in.
Who is asking? Who cares about his opinion? Who cares about his opinion?
In a world, I mean, you're in the gun world, and you are far right conservative. You're not crazy far right, but I'm sure you have a lot of dealings with a lot of very far right people that are looking for the conspiracies. How does a Christian father discern that for their family in this time? What to believe, what not to believe? Where do you get your source of truth? How are you leading through that?
It's good. In terms of where I am on spectrum of left, right, or far, I really love America. I'm a constitutionalist. I'm a patriot. I love Bible. I love family. And a lot of people, they want to label you by saying you're far right. You're a crazy over here. I'm like, I love family. I believe in our Constitution, Declaration of Independence. That's it. Nothing insane. Nothing that's going to get huge clicks on Instagram. I love Bible, and that's my standard of truth right there. And so I would like people to stop being crazy all the time. Practice a little bit of discernment. Let's suspend judgment before we tribalistically all jump on bandwagons, which is what's happening. It's a thing happens. Immediately choose your side. Whose side are you on? Go all in. And now
double down in spite of the evidence.
That's right. And now it's confirmation bias. No matter what you see, you're going to see it through the lens of what you've already pre-established in your snap judgment that happened the moment the headline broke. Nobody's reading deeply. No one's saying, well, let's see where the investigation goes. And so that is a real big problem, because that means we're tribalistically ready to grab pitchforks and torches pick at anybody that happens to land a little bit outside of our tribe. And it just continues to snowball until it breaks all alliance, all trust, all fellowship. And it's a race to the bottom. It's just going to be the utter destruction of everything while you get huge views.
Yeah. Well, and in that too, if you are a Christian or
but yet you guys are here talking about this again for views, right? Pretty sure.
claim to be a Christian, you've got to think about things like Jesus says that Satan is the father of lies.
And they always bring it back to this kind of stuff. If you're asking questions that they don't want you to answer or ask, rather, I'd be really curious to see. Baron Coleman is doing a lot of research, Google Trend searches, rather. And I know Ian Carroll has looked into the geofencing of churches in certain states where they're actually going to be pushing the small state of the country that's the size of New Jersey, pushing that kind of propaganda through geofencing. I wonder if this is one of the churches where that's going to be happening. Allegedly, maybe, I don't know. Just asking.
It's like, am I
probably would be good to look into.
Am I intentionally frequently lying? Then that would be bad. Jesus says that we'll be judged for every word we speak. If you claim Christ, you've at least got to begin, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, with some fear of the Lord, that it doesn't matter what the clicks are and it doesn't matter what the platform, rewards.
Is he insinuating that because she's asking questions, she's not a God-fearing woman?
Matters if I'm claiming Christ, that I'm trying to conduct myself in a way that is truthful, knowing that I'm going to stand before him and give an account for all of the content that I'm disseminating.
Right.
And so to me, there's just a practical point where, yeah, we don't trust those who are traditional legacy media, rightly and understandably so. But if someone claims to be a Christian, they should at least be making an attempt to act or live functionally as a Christian.
No, that's good.
And just wild speculation and untruths and lies, there's nothing in the Bible that supports that. There's nothing in the Christian life that would promote that.
We don't know if she's lying. She's not lying. She's proven that she hasn't been lying. She's actually proven that TPUSA has been lying. So why are we here?
She's got hard evidence. I'd like to see it. And I'm open to reason. Show it to me.
How about start watching her podcast?
And then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And if not, this is not helpful. This is destroying. And this is harmful.
It feels like an attack really on the right because there's becoming so many divisions in the
Oh God, we got idiot number one. Here we go again.
right. And you said that when you're losing, everyone's unified, but when you're winning, all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's factions of the right. And
it's tribalism. It's tribal chiefs and tribes. And it's like, there's Tucker Carlson, there's Candace Owens.
Oh, here we go.
Steve Dace is a friend of mine and I appreciate him.
We're just going to stop watching this. We already know where this is going. I don't know if I can watch any more of it. I'm getting a migraine just listening to them talk. But you want to know what, you guys? I brought up a great point in the fact that I am going to look up this geofencing. And I'm curious to see, because it does say churches in certain states. And I wonder if I have to look back at Ian Carroll's podcast that he did. But I need to look back and see if we can figure out if this church that Mark Driscoll is a pastor at, if this is one of the ones where they will be circulating this kind of propaganda. That would be super interesting and would explain why we're taking our time out on our Christian podcast to, sit here and what would you call it? Diagnose, insult, make fun of, mock, so on and so on. Very unchristian like, right? So I would be so curious. We need to do some digging. I'm going to do some digging and see what I can find. And we will definitely be doing a follow-up podcast on that. So guys, really quick, I just want to remind you all to make sure that you like the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you like my content. It is free. It helps me. It helps my channel. And be sure to share these clips. I don't think that there's been a lot of people who have caught on to Mark Driscoll. This isn't the first time he's talked about her, but this is the first time where they've really elaborated on how they feel about her questioning things. And they've taken it to the point of, calling her crazy. She's going through psychosis. Like where, if she has a spouse, is if they don't know who Candace Owens is if they don't know all these things about Candace Owens, is if they don't know that her and Charlie were as close as they were. And this is just giving me like Rob McCoy vibes. And I don't like it. It's giving me the ick. And I'm really honestly disappointed. But like I said, let me know in the comments what you guys think. There will be a part 2 to this. Let me look into this a little bit and we will go from there. I will see you all in the next